You need to be pretty motivated to do this course. You will be out and about in all weathers, so every week we'll be out all day pretty much, at least one day a week. It is a level 3 course and therefore the same level of content as any A level, so you'd be expected to have a good level of self-discipline with getting the assignment work in and make sure you stick to the deadlines. But ultimately, the important thing is to be prepared to just kind of get stuck in. Well, I'll make this as practical based as possible. I'm a great believer in you need to have those skills to be able to look after people safely in the outdoors. Most of the units start with some sort of introduction in terms of learning a little bit more about the sort of water sports or the land-based skills that you're about to participate in. So it would involve them going off and researching a range of different land-based activities like climbing, mountain biking, four-wheel driving, a whole range of different things really. And then that would then move on to things slightly more straightforward, like writing risk assessments. Not one of the more exciting aspects of the course, but really, really essential when you're working in the outdoor industry, considering, you know, all the things that could go wrong and making sure there's provision in place to prevent anything happening. And then most of the units then tend to tie up with some sort of review and development plan, where you've got to with your skills, how you're then going to move forward and then work towards one of the National Governing Body Awards. There's also units in there that help you build your CV. So once you've gathered all these qualifications and you've gathered all this knowledge and skill set, putting that into some sort of coherent plan that really sells you as an individual. That comes at the latter part of the course, obviously, before students look at going off to university or going straight into industry. It's entirely assignment based, so there's 11 assignments you'll do each year on average. Some are more complex than others and involve quite a lot of research. Others might be slightly more straightforward, like a review of your skills and working out a development plan of how you're going to improve working towards the National Governing Body Awards. But there will be some sort of learning skills checks, sort of small sort of tests along the way. There's quite a lot of practical stuff which we do that is assessed through video. But overall, predominantly the majority of the assessment is done through written work in the theory that goes alongside the practical that we do each week. There's a lot of trips involved, so to really get the benefit of all the different practical skills, we have to go away to a range of different areas. So we start off at the beginning. There's usually an induction, 24 hours. So for instance, we went over to the Brecon Beacons, and within 24 hours they'd bivvied out under the stars, they'd done some kayaking, they'd done some rock climbing, and they'd walked up to the highest mountain in the Brecon Beacons. So that was kind of a basic introduction as to, you know, what might be coming up within the 2 years on the course. We also do trips away climbing, so there'll be a 3-day trip away climbing, a 3-day trip away kayaking or canoeing as like a short expedition, and there'll be a multi-activity week in the Lake District where they're doing a whole range of different activities like gill scrambling, mountain walking, rock climbing, paddleboarding, canoeing. I think those trips are really, really important because being self-sufficient with all the camping, understanding how to use the Trangia cookers and put up a tent and maybe deal with any of the problems that might come along with those is quite important, because they're going to be supervising young people in a camping environment quite often. Being able to look after the safety of young people cooking is absolutely vital. Where they would definitely be able to go on and be an outdoor instructor, because they'd have a range of low-level qualifications with a view hopefully to a good grounding in some of the more advanced skills. For instance, we do trips up to Scotland where we do some winter skills, so they could look towards then maybe going and working as a technician or what we might call the night watch scheme at one of those outdoor centres, where you would then develop those skills further and working leading on some of the groups. But also it transfers really well into any of the emergency services, because you're out in all weathers, so you've got that resilience, you've got the adaptability to deal with a range of situations, and they're quite sort of challenging conditions, so you can very much sort of think on your feet. So there are course fees of £250 that go towards paying for the qualifications. The cost of, if a student was doing it individually, would be far in excess of that. There's not a great expectation for people to go out and buy a huge range of outdoor equipment, so sometimes parents can feel like there's a big pressure to do that. So we've got a lot of equipment that they can use, certainly all the camping equipment, and we've got a range of waterproofs and other bits and pieces. Things like boots and rucksacks they might want to invest in, but over and above that, we will slowly kind of tackle those issues on equipment as they build their knowledge and talk about what might be prudent for them to buy over the 2 years. So just to highlight that there's no real expectations that if they're doing an outdoor course like this, they need to go out straight down to Go Outdoors and spend hundreds and hundreds of pounds or put pressure onto parents to do that.